Welcome to today's video on the risky bet of tapping your 401k early after a layoff near retirement. To begin, we'll set the stage for why a job loss close to age 60 presents a unique financial crisis and why immediate decisions can have lifelong consequences. Next, we'll explore how to think about cash flow, taxes, liquidity, and long-term security. Then, we'll walk through practical steps to stabilize your finances before touching retirement funds. Here's our roadmap. First, we'll define the crisis. Next, we'll examine the core dilemma. After that, we'll use a decision tree to guide choices. Then, we'll implement an immediate action plan. Furthermore, we'll unpack the tax time bomb and compare liquidity with equity. Moving on, we'll examine smarter alternatives, a 90-day survival timeline, and a debt triage framework. Finally, we'll test your knowledge and wrap up with key takeaways and a crucial disclaimer. A layoff close to age 60 compresses your timeline and increases the temptation to liquidate retirement assets to kill debt. However, the urgency you feel can mask the true costs: taxes, loss compounding, and reduced future income. Therefore, we need to approach this with calm, structure, and a plan that buys time without sacrificing long-term security. Here's the core dilemma. Paying off a mortgage and high-interest credit cards can significantly reduce monthly pressure, but cashing out a large portion of retirement savings can permanently reduce the nest egg that funds your future. In other words, the emotional relief today may come at the expense of your long-term security. A paid-off home is an illiquid asset, while cash during unemployment provides flexibility. Consequently, your strategy should prioritize liquidity and optionality. Before tapping retirement accounts, we will make sure to exhaust bridge income options and temporary support mechanisms. This decision tree begins by confirming whether you're 55 or older and separated from service, which allows penalty-free access to your former employer's 401k. Then, it checks whether non-retirement options are fully utilized: unemployment benefits, emergency savings, bridge income, and creditor negotiations. If any of those are not in place, the flow directs you to implement immediate actions first. If all are complete, the tree compares debt interest rates with expected investment returns and evaluates the tax bracket impact of withdrawals. It then presents alternatives like 72T, SEPP through an IRA, partial withdrawals in smaller tranches, and the risky lump sum option. The diagram concludes with either proceeding cautiously or delaying and reassessing after conditions improve. As we transition, let's turn those decision points into a concrete action plan. Start by filing for unemployment benefits immediately to establish bridge income. Next, tap emergency savings for essentials only, not lifestyle expenses. Then, aggressively cut costs by pausing subscriptions, negotiating utilities and insurance, and deferring non-essential spending. Meanwhile, begin generating bridge income through part-time roles, gig work, delivery, or retail. And, in parallel, call your creditors and mortgage servicer to request hardship options such as forbearance, reduced payments, or interest concessions. Finally, freeze any large retirement withdrawals for at least 30 days to stabilize your cash flow and improve your negotiating position. Traditional 401k withdrawals are taxed as ordinary income in the year you withdraw. Therefore, a large lump sum can push your total income into a higher bracket, creating a tax spike that reduces the net funds available to pay off debt. Even if you qualify for penalty-free access after separation at 55 or older, regular income taxes still apply. The illustrative pie shows how a hypothetical $100,000 withdrawal might be reduced by combined federal and state taxes, leaving a smaller amount for debt payoff. To mitigate bracket creep, consider smaller, managed withdrawals over multiple years rather than a single large distribution. Next, let's compare liquidity against home equity to clarify priorities during unemployment. On the left, liquidity provides immediate cash flow for essentials and creates negotiating leverage with creditors. It preserves flexibility and helps you avoid forced asset sales during down markets. On the right, home equity is difficult to access without a refinance or sale, both of which can be slow or unfavorable during a crisis. While a paid-off mortgage lowers monthly expenses, it also locks up cash you may urgently need. Consequently, during unemployment, liquidity generally outranks equity in importance. You can roll a former employer 401k into an IRA to broaden your strategy choices. Additionally, a 72T, Substantially equal periodic payment structure may allow predictable, penalty-free payments, but it is rigid and complex, so professional guidance is essential. Alternatively, partial withdrawals in smaller tranches can control tax brackets. In some cases, a short-term HELOC or refinance can provide liquidity, but only if terms are favorable and you fully understand the risks. Meanwhile, negotiate with creditors for hardship programs and lower rates. During unemployment, prioritize minimum payments to conserve cash, and plan to accelerate debt payoff once income stabilizes. This timeline breaks your first 90 days into 4 focused phases. In days 0 to 7, file for unemployment, audit expenses, contact all creditors, and freeze any large withdrawals. In days 8 to 30, launch bridge income, sell unneeded items, adjust insurance to reduce premiums, and cement a bare-bones budget. During days 31 to 60, reassess your job search progress, renegotiate debts, evaluate whether small strategic withdrawals are necessary, and run a tax projection. Finally, in days 61 to 90, formalize your short-term plan and, only if needed and justified by the numbers, consider a 72T or an IRA rollover with professional guidance while avoiding a lump sum withdrawal unless calculations clearly support it. Next, we'll systematize which debts to prioritize. Use this debt triage framework to decide what to pay now and what to negotiate. Credit cards often carry the highest APRs. During unemployment, keep paying minimums and negotiate rates. Mortgages are lower rate but essential for housing stability. Ask about forbearance or hardship programs. Auto loans may offer deferrals, and transportation is crucial for work. Medical bills are often interest-free and highly negotiable. Personal loans vary, so request hardship relief. Overall, the goal is to preserve cash while preventing defaults and maintaining critical services. Bridge income is essential to stop the financial bleeding. Consider part-time retail, delivery, rideshare, or warehouse shifts. If possible, freelance or consult in your area of expertise. Sell unused items to generate quick cash and monetize any marketable hobbies. Simultaneously, ask your network for short-term contracts and apply for community resources if eligible. Now let's test your understanding. Quiz time. What is the first best move after a layoff near retirement? Is it A, pay off the mortgage with a 401k lump sum, B, file for unemployment benefits, C, liquidate 25% of retirement savings to clear credit cards, or D, buy an annuity immediately? You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is B. File for unemployment benefits. Establishing bridge income early reduces pressure on your savings and helps you avoid a hasty, costly retirement withdrawal. Second quiz. If you are 55 or older and separated from service, what is the tax treatment of a traditional 401k withdrawal? Is it A, no income tax and no penalty? B, ordinary income tax applies, but no 10% early withdrawal penalty? C, capital gains tax applies only? Or D, only a 10% penalty applies with no taxes? You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is B. If you are 55 or older and separated from service, the 10% penalty may be waived for withdrawals from that employer's 401k plan, but the amount is still taxed as ordinary income. Plan rules can vary, so confirm details with your plan and a tax professional. These are the key takeaways. First, exhaust non-retirement options before touching your 401k. Second, recognize that lump sum withdrawals can create a significant tax spike. Third, prioritize liquidity over equity during unemployment. Fourth, consider alternatives such as IRA rollovers, 72T, SPP, and partial withdrawals. Finally, run tax projections and consult a qualified professional before taking any large distribution. Next, a brief but important disclaimer. This video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial, tax, or legal advice. Your situation is unique, and retirement plan rules and tax implications can vary. Before making any decisions, consult a fiduciary financial advisor and a licensed tax professional. With that in mind, let's summarize your action-focused checklist. Here is a quick checklist in markdown form to make the plan tangible. File for unemployment and confirm your weekly claims. Build a bare-bones budget and a 30 to 90-day cash map. Contact creditors and your mortgage servicer for hardship options. Start bridge income within 2 weeks. Schedule a tax projection before any retirement withdrawal. And compare your debt interest rates with expected returns, testing partial withdrawals first. Now, let's wrap up with a concise summary. To conclude, first, stabilize income and expenses before tapping retirement assets. Next, avoid the lump sum tax spike whenever possible by considering structured alternatives. Then, use professional guidance to navigate 72T, IRA rollovers, and tax planning. During a crisis, choose liquidity over illiquid equity, and reassess monthly as conditions evolve. Finally, remember that patience and planning can preserve both your present stability and your future retirement. Thanks for watching. If this video helped you, please like, share, and subscribe for more practical guidance. In the comments, tell us what your 90-day plan looks like and what questions you want answered next.